There's a certain kind of person who freezes the moment they step into a crowded place. Their heartbeat doesn't just quicken, it tightens. Their senses don't just heighten, they overload. The lights feel brighter, the sounds feel sharper, the air feels thinner. Their mind begins scanning, assessing, calculating every moving shape around them. And as the world grows louder, something inside them grows smaller. People who hate crowded places aren't dramatic. They aren't strange. They aren't overreacting. Their psychology simply runs on a different frequency. One the world often misunderstands because it rewards noise, speed, and constant stimulation. But beneath this response lies a mind wired for depth, safety, control, and emotional clarity, things that crowds threaten without meaning to. For these people, crowds don't feel like gatherings. They feel like storms. Every voice becomes a gust of wind. Every movement becomes thunder. Every unknown person becomes a shifting shadow in the corner of their awareness. They don't experience crowds the way others do, not because they want to, but because their nervous system won't allow otherwise. Their senses are like antennas tuned too sharply to the world. What others filter out, they absorb. What others ignore, they notice. What others pass through easily, they interpret as danger signals. And their body responds accordingly, heart racing, breath tightening, muscles contracting as if the mind is whispering, "You're not safe here." This reaction doesn't come from weakness, it comes from sensitivity. And sensitivity is not a flaw, it's a form of sophisticated perception. When the brain is wired to pick up on emotional cues, subtle movements, overlapping sounds, and shifting energy, crowded places become battlegrounds of overstimulation. The human mind is designed to filter, but those who hate crowds have filters that operate differently. Their mental sieve catches everything. The laughter behind them, the footsteps too close, the voice yelling across the room, the person brushing past them, the music mixing with conversation, mixing with clatter. They don't just hear noise, they interpret it. They don't just see faces, they analyze them. They don't just stand in a group, they sense the energy of every person within it. And while their brain is busy surviving the moment, their body quietly begs to escape it. Psychologists call this sensory processing, sensitivity, a trait found in people whose nervous systems react more deeply to stimuli. Crowded places bombard them with input faster than their mind can process. That's why they shut down, withdraw, escape, or endure quietly while their internal systems burn through energy at triple speed. For them, a crowd isn't just a group of people, it's a wave, and waves don't gently pass by, they crash. Crowds also strip away something homebodies and deep feelers rely on: control. These individuals love environments where they can predict their surroundings, where they know the exits, where the noise level stays steady, APBAs. Where the emotional tone doesn't shift abruptly. Crowded places shatter all of that. Instead of one emotional atmosphere, there are hundreds. Instead of one source of sound, there are dozens. Instead of one rhythm, there are many. And the brain, overwhelmed with variables, goes into a survival mode, not because danger is present, but because the possibility of danger feels heightened. Some people thrive in chaos, others suffocate in it. And for those who hate crowds, chaos isn't invigorating, it's destabilizing. It knocks them out of their inner balance and into a state of vigilance. They begin tracking strangers unconsciously, who's walking closer, who's speaking loudly, who seems unpredictable, who might enter their personal space. This isn't paranoia, it's hyper-awareness. A mind scanning the environment faster than it can understand what it's scanning for. So instead of grounding themselves, they become mentally scattered. The crowd pulls them in every direction at once. There's a deeper psychological layer, too, one that often goes unnoticed. People who dislike crowded places tend to have richer inner worlds. They feel deeply, they reflect deeply, they process deeply, but crowds force shallow interactions and rapid stimuli. There's another layer to all of this, one that lies deeper than discomfort and far more complex than simply disliking people. Many individuals who feel overwhelmed in crowded places aren't reacting to the crowd itself, they're reacting to what the crowd does to their identity, their sense of safety, their emotional autonomy, and the delicate balance of their nervous system. Their mind isn't just noticing a lot of people, it's noticing too much of everything all at once. Too many expectations, too many unpredictable variables, too many emotional currents mixing together. And while this storm is happening outside, an even larger storm is forming inside. Psychologists talk about something called amygdala activation, the brain's alarm center lighting up when it senses risk. For some people, crowded places activate that alarm, even when no real danger exists. It's not fear, they're not panicking about strangers or imagining harm. It's vigilance. Their brain is running calculations. Where am I in relation to others? Who is moving toward me? How much space do I have? Is there an exit behind me? Is the noise rising? Is this energy safe or chaotic? This constant scanning isn't a choice, it's instinctive. And the longer they have to perform it, the heavier the emotional exhaustion becomes. Crowds take away something people need to feel grounded. Predictability. Predictability is what tells the nervous system, it's okay to relax now. But in crowds, everything is unpredictable. People shift direction, noise changes volume, emotions rise suddenly, a stranger steps too close, someone bumps into you. A voice erupts, laughter bursts, an argument forms, a baby cries, a chair falls, sound becomes a living thing with teeth. And for people whose minds register all of this intensely, predictability dissolves. Their internal world becomes undone. Their mental footing disappears. This unpredictability also affects something called emotional boundaries. Most people carry invisible boundaries that define how close someone can get, how loudly someone can speak, how much energy someone can exert before it becomes too much. Crowds obliterate those boundaries. Strangers enter personal space without warning. Noise pierces through emotional shields. Energies mix and collide. The body feels exposed, unprotected. Even if the person is physically safe, their nervous system doesn't feel safe. The boundary between me and the world becomes thin. And when those boundaries dissolve, something else happens. Identity fragmentation. In small, calm environments, a person can sense themselves clearly. They know what they're feeling, thinking, wanting. But in crowds, the self becomes drowned in external signals. Too many influences, too many emotional atmospheres, too many demands on attention. The sense of, I am here, breaks into fragments. I am overwhelmed, I am overstimulated, I am trying to keep up, I am losing my center. This isn't dramatic, it's neurological. It's what happens when the brain receives too much input without room to process it. For some people, this sensitivity began in childhood. They were the kids who didn't like loud cafeterias, who covered their ears in busy markets, who preferred the quiet corner of the classroom, who needed time alone after school because their brains had absorbed too much stimulation during the day. They weren't shy, they were saturated. Their mind worked like a sponge that didn't stop absorbing until it overflowed. They learned early that peace wasn't the absence of noise, it was the absence of overwhelm. As adults, their preference simply evolved. They gravitate toward quiet cafes instead of malls. They prefer walking in nature over walking through crowds. They choose small gatherings over big events. They find comfort in routines rather than unpredictability. They're not hiding from the world, they're choosing environments that support their psychological rhythm. And yet, they often feel misunderstood. People tell them, relax, it's not a big deal. Just enjoy yourself. Don't overthink it. But that's the thing, they aren't overthinking. They're overfeeling. Crowds don't activate their logic, they activate their nervous system. When the body enters alert mode, you can't just relax. You can't tell your heartbeat to slow down, or your senses to shrink, or your awareness to dim. It doesn't work that way. It's like asking someone with allergies to just ignore the pollen. The body reacts whether the mind wants it to or not. For others, the aversion to crowds comes from past emotional experiences. Maybe they were ignored, overwhelmed, or overstimulated in chaotic environments growing up. Maybe crowds were associated with stress, arguments, conflict, or sensory overload. The body remembers what the mind forgets. The nervous system forms imprints. So even as adults, their body responds to crowds as if returning to an old battlefield. It's not trauma, it's conditioning. A deeply wired association that says chaos is danger. Too many people means too much energy. Too much noise means I'm not safe. But here's the irony. Many people who hate crowded places are incredibly empathetic. They sense emotions without being told. They feel energies beyond the surface. They can walk into a room and instantly pick up on tension, sadness, excitement, stress. Their emotional radar is always active. And in crowds, that radar becomes overwhelmed. Instead of feeling one emotion, they feel many. Instead of sensing one energy, they sense dozens. Empathy becomes weight. Sensitivity becomes burden. They don't hate people, they feel too much of them. There's also something, and maybe that's the hidden truth beneath it all. People who hate crowded places aren't fragile, they're finely tuned. They're not avoiding life, they're choosing the parts of life that let them breathe. They're not disconnecting, they're protecting the connection that matters most, the one they have with themselves. They know their limits. They know their sensitivities. They know when their mind is reaching its threshold, and instead of pushing themselves to the point of collapse, they retreat into spaces where they can return to themselves. This isn't fear, it's wisdom. It takes strength to walk away from environments that everyone else seems comfortable in. It takes awareness to understand what your nervous system needs. It takes emotional honesty to admit that your peace matters more than fitting in. And it takes courage to hold on to that truth in a world that glorifies overstimulation. So if you're someone who feels overwhelmed in crowds, remember this: there is nothing wrong with you. Your sensitivity is not a weakness, it's a superpower. Your quiet is not emptiness, it's clarity. Your need for space is not avoidance, it's self-preservation. And the world needs people like you, people who feel deeply enough to step back, breathe, and remind us all that peace is found not in noise, but in understanding ourselves.